I've been trying to understand something for years. Why does Bleach get so much criticism? Because every time I hear someone explain why they don't like Bleach, I leave even more confused. Now, do I think Bleach is perfect? Well, yes, I'm just kidding. Probably not, but every story has flaws. But most of the criticism I hear aren't the flaws I'd point out. And every single time, my first thought is, what exactly are you talking about? Not in a disrespectful way. I'm genuinely asking. Because whenever I go back and rewatch Bleach looking for these problems, I usually find the story explaining the very thing people are criticizing. And maybe that's why every rewatch makes me appreciate Bleach even more. I think it's only fair that I tell you where I'm coming from. Bleach isn't just my favorite anime, it's the anime that made me fall in love with anime. I was around 12 or 13 years old, and my brother and sister and I shared one computer growing up. Whenever it was finally my turn to use it, I wasn't playing games, I wasn't really doing anything else. I was watching Bleach, hours after hours, every chance I got. I've watched this series more than 6 times now. So when people hate on or criticize Bleach, I'm offended, but I'm also curious. Let's start with the biggest one, plot armor. This is the criticism that confuses me the most. People will say, Ichigo is just convenient. Literally the point. Didn't the story already tell us he was different? Take his hollow transformation against Ulquiorra. I've heard people point that moment as one of the biggest examples of plot armor. But when I watched it, I didn't think, wow, they just made something up. I thought, oh, so this is what all those hints were building toward. The story had been planting pieces of Ichigo's identity for a long time. That transformation wasn't the explanation. It was the payoff. And why wouldn't I want to watch the one in a million? I'm watching the main character. Why would I want to watch the average Soul Reaper? I'm watching the one person whose life is extraordinary. That's literally why he's the main character. If Ichigo were just another normal Soul Reaper, there wouldn't really be a story. The entire premise is that he's an anomaly. So when people say he's too special, I just think, well, yes, that's exactly what the story has been telling me. Now let's talk about the filler, because this is another one where I think specifics matter. Whenever somebody says Bleach filler is terrible, my first question is which filler? Because I don't feel the same way about all of it. Did every filler arc work? No, probably not. But I don't think it's fair to throw all of Bleach fillers into one category, especially the Zanpakuto Rebellion arc. I actually love that arc, seeing everyone Zanpakuto become actual characters, seeing their personalities, seeing how those relationships reflected their owners. That made me appreciate Bankai and Shikai even more. Those words stopped feeling like abilities. They started feeling like partners. Going back after watching Thousand Year Blood War, those ideas feel even richer. Did the filler move the canon story? No, but it deepened my relationship with the world. And to me, that's still valuable. Then there's the pacing criticism. This is another one where I always find myself asking, what exactly should have been removed? Because I watched Bleach. I never felt like it was wasting my time. Some of my favorite moments aren't even fights. They're the conversations before the fights, the quiet confidence, the tension, the feeling that everybody knows something big is coming. The pauses before something huge happens, the atmosphere, the music. Why wouldn't you want to feel like number one, shining bright for everyone? Or the feeling that something is building underneath the surface, or in the dark. Bleach has always been really good at letting moments breathe. And because of that, when the emotional or action-heavy scenes finally happen, they feel earned. Could some moments have been tighter? Probably. Every long-running anime has moments like that, but overall, that slower pacing becomes part of why I connected with the series in the first place. Now, the Fullbring Arc. I actually understand this criticism more than most. If somebody says it wasn't my favorite arc, okay, I get it. But what I don't understand is how one arc suddenly makes the entire series mid. Because personally, I loved Fullbring. Not because it had the biggest fights, but because I'd never seen Ichigo that broken before. For the first time, he wasn't protecting everybody else. He couldn't even protect himself emotionally. Watching somebody who has always carried everyone suddenly lose everything, that hit me. It made Ichigo feel more human than he'd ever felt before. And when he finally got his powers back, it wasn't hype because he got stronger. It was emotional because he'd gotten hope back. That's why that arc worked for me. And lastly, this might honestly be the criticism that surprises me the most. People say Bleach has a confusing power system, and I always think, really? Because I actually found Bleach easier to understand than people say. What I always appreciated was the every group in Bleach felt distinct. Soul Reapers don't feel like Quincy's. Quincy's don't approach battle like Hollows. Arrancar don't feel like Vizoids. Everybody has their own identity, their own philosophy, and their own place in the world. Completely different experiences. I can watch Ichigo gain another ability and think that makes sense, while someone else watch the exact same scene and sees plot armor. I can see a slower episodes and feel immersed. Someone else watches them and feels bored. Strangely, I do find beauty in that. Maybe I'll never fully understand why Bleach doesn't click for everyone, and that's okay. Is there an anime, maybe it's Bleach, that people criticize that you just don't see the same way? I'd love to hear your perspective. But until next time, sail safe and stay spirited.